folks. Ooh-wee. We have made it. It is it. This is it. This is the place you are supposed to be right now. Welcome to We Have the High Ground, your Star Wars show on the Pop Culture Universe channel, where me, Colin, that's me, and Bogz, my friend,
that's
and
me.
our other friend, Matt, are going to break down the sickest Star Wars thing that has ever happened in Star Wars. If you told me that the 2020 was going to be the year of Ahsoka and not Dev Patel, which we were robbed of, I could talk about that on a whole other show. Supposed to be the year of Dev Patel.
Green Knight.
I'm so ready for that man. Oh, he's coming for the world. They don't even know. We got somebody else to talk about that's coming for the world. It's the most searched thing on the YouTubes. It's the most searched thing on the internet. Folks, it's episode 13 of The Mandalorian, Season 2, Episode 5 review, The Jedi. And guess who we're talking about, folks? Lady Tano. And she's made her way to the flat screen in your living room or the 4x3 at your great-great-granny's house because you're watching Disney Plus on some weird way that you got it on there. Everyone, however you watched it last night, we are with you. I stayed up late. It's been a long day. It's pretty late. It's not late now. It was late. Now it's kind of midday. But I'm joined by my boys. After all that, y'all, Matt, welcome back, by the way. Welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
I'm happy that it's not the holiday special, and now we can get down to the nitty gritty. Where in the holiday special, we basically tried to just have a regular episode of the show because we just wanted to talk to you about Star Wars. Sue us. Bogz?
Yo.
How was it?
Well, man, I tell you, like I was telling Matt before, you know, I'm actually tired because it's like so much. It's so intense. There's so much to take in. So much stuff you're seeing.
It's like going to church.
It's like a religious experience.
Yeah, it was. It really was like a religious experience.
I can't disagree there.
So people are getting up at all times around the world, you know, tuning in. Like what is like? It's just crazy. Like the amount that we're getting of entertainment, what we want. So yeah.
You made a fake account.
Oh yeah, I made a fake Grogu account. I made yeah. It's awesome. It's _Grogu_. Follow it. It's now the official account of this podcast. _Grogu_. Follow it.
Sure, get your fans. Yeah.
First off, I said, so who the Force is going to teach me about the Force now? Because that was a huge question. There's so many questions. I think I have 3 huge questions coming into this conversation that I want answered out of you two. And I know you two are the minds to pick. I've been looking forward to this all day. I'm going to be honest. I totally forgot Matt was going to be gracing us with his presence today. Yeah, and then I'm like, facts, let's go. Because I'm in the middle of like we were pulling the Christmas decorations down for my mom out of the attic. You know,
he just gets a message like, "Yo, what time's it at?" He's like,
I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Bro," because I got everybody on the because we got the Ultimate Showdown show here in an hour and a half. We know with our boy Chance Ellison, so it's gonna be fire night, and we're just we're ready to get into it. So we are here to break down the moment. Like this is we need to take a moment to really understand how we got here, because I do know that there's an audience of ours. Especially out on the West Coast, who watches us, and they have a mixed variety in their family. Like their family has mixed, experiences with Star Wars, right? Like the dad and the family obviously experienced the original trilogy in a much different way than his kids did, and now his kids find love through Star Wars through the cartoons, and they're in their high school years, middle school years, and they are eating this up. My friend Kenji, he's out there in San Francisco, and he's messaging me on Instagram last night, and he's like, she said the T word. We're gonna get into like I'm like losing my mind. Like I'm like, because Bogz even says like I could hear Bogz. Bogz text me, goes, I thought she was gonna say Moff Gideon. I was like, oh, I heard Bogz say it. Like I heard it.
Pretty much.
So
oh my
funny
God.
thing, I had something like that today with Chris, because I normally do like a mini quick recap on our channel, and I got up early, got up at 3:30 to watch this after watching Soul last night. But I got up at 3:30.
How many tissue boxes did you go through? Okay.
Wait,
in Soul.
Oh yeah.
0, really? But like
I'll talk to you after.
Okay. The band kid in me is like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I got up at 3:30 and I got a text from Chris like when I'm halfway through. He's like, "Yo, I don't know if you're up yet, but
I was messaging Chris the entire time.
Yeah, he was telling me on our show. He's like, "Yeah, I was messaging." He's like, "I was messaging Colin." He's like, "If you're doing one today, I want to come on. Let's do it live." So we did our little thing earlier, and it was just this episode has me hyped. I've watched it 2 times now. Once at 3:30 in the morning, and once while I was at work. I haven't had that.
See, I've only seen it once. I've still not seen it again. I've had to work, obviously, so I can't wait to watch it again. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still there.
You got a busy night ahead of you. I don't know if you're going to be getting to that.
Yeah, and then obviously we've got more shows to do. So yeah, probably tomorrow now. But yeah, I'm sure we'll miss loads of stuff.
I'm one with the Force, and the Force with me. I'm one with the Force. All right,
let's run through it, shall we?
Yeah.
Take me through the Jedi archives with Grogu in hand, trying to escape during. We already said his name during Order 66.
Who took him away?
Take us through. It's Bogz. It has to be pretty brown Bogz.
Let's slow down. Yes, thank you very much. That's a name for another show. But anyway, let's slow it down. Okay, from the start. First of all, I gotta say, so not this episode wasn't absolutely perfect. I do have positives and negatives. I'll address the negatives later on. But first off, I want to say personally for Disney Plus, they've got to do something about this rewind and fast forward feature. I think it's so bad. Like, I don't know if it's me personally or you know how it skips 10 seconds. It actually for me, it loads for 10 seconds as I've or if I've rewound a scene or if I've forwarded a scene, it actually takes 10 seconds to play. Like, why is at least give a 30-second option, 10-second option. It's so annoying. It happens. It's not the first time it's happened today as I watched it. It's happened so many times. It's just so frustrating. Like, what was the point rewinding it for 10 seconds? Like, it was just, if I need to rewind for 20 seconds and it takes 20 seconds to load, it happens again and again and again. So that's just,
I would say this, and this is somebody who has had many quarrels with the Walt Disney Corporation and their outsourcing of mobile apps. Okay. Matt and I are huge American sports fans. For the last 6 years and up until about 4 months ago, the ESPN app was just trash, just absolute trash. And I will say, the most aggravating part of the app was the video experience, and it still is to this day. There are times where I log in and I try to watch a game, and the first time you click the game, it will not show you the game. I have to close out the area, whatever, or I'll have to close out the app and then reopen it. Click the same game, literally, Bogz. They're like, "Oh, would you try unplugging it back in?" Literally, but every single time I open your app to watch something, I have to unplug it and plug it back in. So this is not anything new, and it's just, I think I would recommend just using the double arrow feature, because there is the 10-second and then the double arrow feature if you're using an app.
Yeah,
the double arrow.
Really
so are you watching
but the double arrow feature.
No, I'm watching on a TV. I set up on my cable.
So you have another way you can be exact. Oh, okay. I would say another way you can be exact is if you do have a way to Chromecast the device or something, you can control it from the Disney Plus app, and then you can literally just be slide scrolling the thing to control exactly where you want to go. That's just another thing. But I know you're using a different thing.
For example, it's
Netflix a bad platform.
It's quite good, I think. Yeah, basically it's new. I know it's teething, but it happens every episode. And obviously you want to pause it, you want to rewind little scenes and stuff, and it just freezes every single time. It's like, oh my god, seriously.
I was having the same issues. I had huge issues watching it this morning. Once I had to rewatch it with my mom and Guyane, and it worked fine. I was using the full slide feature at 3:00 in the morning, going back and forth. That's why I didn't go to bed till 5, because I was just sliding back and forth. I was like, oh, how am I not just gonna sit here and rewatch this over and over and over and over and over again? This is the best thing ever. Oh man. Oh, okay, Matt, please. Okay. It's a bad experience. So we could fix it another day, but it's
that's just a complete side note. That's just I noticed it from because obviously I was pausing it within the first minute basically, and I was experiencing this. I was like, oh my god, again every week. But anyway,
of course, because we spent the last 3 weeks sitting here on the show being like, she's gonna show up in the last
Yeah.
5 minutes. So Bogz is
Exactly.
like, well, I probably got
I was
my
like, the
phone
last
out.
scene.
I'm checking
Yeah,
the
no,
news.
exactly.
I'm checking
No,
the,
that's
I'm
exactly
checking
where
the
I was about to
weather.
go. That's exact because I was talking to Chris. I'm like, you know what? We were probably going into this. I was completely expecting. Okay, we'll get to like the last 5 to 10 minutes. I'm like, that's what we're gonna get. We open this episode. We're hearing the gong. It's like, oh, shit's about to go down. I wonder what the Mando's doing.
War. Yeah.
And then you just hear the sabers. You don't even see them first. You just hear them, and you're like,
well, them soldiers are shooting something, and I noticed that they weren't getting fired back. Like the blaster kind of fire wasn't going back, and I thought, oh, okay, what are they firing?
It's
What are they
usually
running away
blue
from?
versus red, right?
Yeah,
If it's
or
got
like more
blaster
red or
fire
something.
like
Exactly,
more,
yeah.
or like yellow, whatever.
You're seeing, yeah, exactly, some, I don't know, vehicle or something. Nothing's coming out. You can't really hear anything as well. So I'm like, oh, what's happening? Immediately we're in. She's here. Back, bang. So initially, first thoughts, guys. What you guys thinking? How is she looking? Initially seeing the white sabers. What do you think, Matt?
I mean,
Initial first thoughts.
If you want to go to my Twitter page, I already made the picture of her in my banner because to me, it was pitch perfect. It was mannerism she got down, how the cadence of how Ahsoka speaks.
Yeah.
It was everything I could have expected and wanted with it being Rosario Dawson. When I was talking with Chris later, I'm like, I get why people are like, oh, I wish it was Ashley. And I get that. But when I talked to Phil Lamar back in March at Wizard World Cleveland, I was doing an interview with him. He's like, I'm a voice actor, but I'm also an actor. And while they're similar in voice acting, you end up overacting a lot of the time just because you get multiple takes of it without having that budget to waste. Sure. You don't get that with films and television when it's live action. So to just see that, I was blown away. To me, I feel like Rosario Dawson's natural voice is right around the right pitch for a live action in Ahsoka. If you look at Rebels, similar type of tone, but how she spoke her lines, the mannerisms of Ahsoka, I was even just in that moment, I was like, okay, sold.
Yeah. So, Colin, what were you thinking? First thoughts when you first seen her kind of in the forest. What are your thoughts there?
Boy, was I wrong. Like, one, well, actually, I had an interesting conversation. Some of you might know Langley. He's on the Schmodown. He's in like the Schmodown community, and we've been going back and forth for a few years and just like been fans since like the Collider days. Just met in like one of the Collider chat rooms. And I tweeted, like, I had been in that last hour, I needed to stay awake. So I was watching the Alex Rider IMDb TV show. Really good. It's really good. Starts in book 2, totally skips Stormbreaker. So it's like, we don't have to throw him into a shark tank. Let's just send him right to Point Blanc. It's fantastic. I love it. Okay. And I'm sitting there like killing time, and I'm like, oh, 45 minutes, 15 minutes. And he goes, now, are you sure this is going to happen? Because this is like a lot of stuff. Like this has been a lot of buildup going into this. I looked down at my phone, 3:06. He goes, I'm sorry. And it's like it's the Lord of the Rings gift. Will you forgive me? And I was just like, yes, because this was everything I needed. The energy, the tone, her persona, oh my God, like her freaking hair, her headwear, like it was all moved perfectly. It was worn. It was like I could you saw
the ridges in the left side of it.
Yeah, like, oh my God, like it was so accurate and so detailed, and that's the stuff I'd really been looking for. More like looking forward to Dave Filoni, like just getting this opportunity to just have a ball. That dude had so much fun because this is his thing. And that's what I kept thinking about the entire time. Was that Dave was having so much fun. Like, wow. Rosario, you move great. And and I think he'd have his iPad up, and he'd like pull up an episode of Clone Wars, and he'd click Disney Plus, and you go
do Rebels. He's gotta do Rebels because it's
you go Disney Plus. He goes, and you could every single time you'd be like, "Ooh, pay for it by Disney Plus," and then he'd look over, show her like some stuff, and especially of her. And I don't know if y'all noticed this. What I loved was the shot in the credits of her in the all white in the same white robe from the Rebels finale. They had that in one of the concept art that they showed at the end. And that whole aura of that version of Ahsoka that we never heard, right? We never heard that Ahsoka. You only saw her presence, and that presence of drawing Sabine to going on their mission to finding Ezra. She's still on that mission. That girl is still the same. She's still on that mission.
Is she? Because
I just gotta. We can't get into that part yet. Let's let Bogz get into the rundown of the episode, and then we can break down the big stuff at the end. Because that stuff at the end, I think that's the closing conversation. Because that's the big picture stuff. Because my mom looked at me and I was like, the thing that blew my mom's mind was when I told her Anakin Skywalker was her master, and she goes, "Oh," and that was enough for her to be like, "Oh, okay, I understand. I have some context for this." So please, Bogz, provide us with a bit more context.
Yeah, so just on that scene alone, like I was literally shocked when I seen her. Like immediately coming after 10 seconds, she looked great. The like what you guys say, the makeup, the costume, the hair. Forget also all that as well. Like her technique, you know, her precision, the way she fights with the sabers, right out of the Clone Wars. You know, something. It's almost, you know, completely identical how she kind of behaves and acts in the series, kind of using the Force and the way kind of she fights and moves, the physicality, all of that. And that whole scene in the forest, like the way she's kind of silently moving through the kind of woods to take out these guys, that was all electric. And yeah, there was a couple of kind of close-ups of her, you know, when she's kind of approaching the gate and stuff. But it did initially throw me off. The first couple of lines that she spoke, obviously, because until she speaks, you're not 100% sure which voice they would use as well, because obviously they're not announced in terms of, you know, was it going to be Ashley Eckstein? Was it going to be something else? Were they going to do something else? But it's obviously just because for me, initially, the first couple of lines, it was just Rosario Dawson. And then it did take me a couple of lines to get used to it. But yeah, what are you guys thinking about the voice? When you
go back and watch it again, fam.
Yeah.
Go back and watch that ish about 2 or 3 more times, and you're like, "Oh, nope, that's her."
That's
her.
No, it's just
like
just the first couple of lines.
It is jarring. It because you got to get used to it. Your brain has to
After
adjust.
that,
your brain has to adjust.
I mean, it was. I mean,
that's like Chris Pine as Captain Kirk.
Yeah, it's like I said. I know a lot of people have the same issues with Alden Ehrenreich. My thing is, I pay attention to the cadence. I don't care what the voice sounds like. If they're speaking in the same type of way that the character is going to speak, if they're delivering the lines in the same way.
Put the emphasis on that syllable, Poppy. Put the emphasis on the right syllable, and we're doing it right. And she was emphasizing the shiatsis out of these syllables. Like she was on it. It was everything in the way that she was speaking to people was just so oh my god, she was using her body. She was using like, oh my god, when she crosses her arms, I was like, yes, oh my god, my punk girl, he's still there, you little snips.
Yeah, she's got all the mannerisms. Yeah, you're right.
To be fair, you don't cast Rosario Dawson and voice her over with Ashley Eckstein. I just got to say, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
so almost future First Lady of the United States of America. By the way, she was almost First Lady of the United States.
So I was one of them that was probably saying, no, we need Ashley Eckstein to play the role. You know, she's the character. You're playing using Katie Sacco and Bo-Katan, but that's all gone out the window now. She's completely earned. You know, within 1 minute, that's gone. Like, forget that. Yeah, she's already kind of sealed it. And obviously, she's approached the gate to speak to kind of these the people kind of at the gate, and then obviously Michael Biehn is there. As initially, it took me a couple of scenes to realize it was him.
I didn't know until Lon Harris tweeted it. I was like, wait, that was Michael Biehn?
It took me, I think, the second scene he was on, because obviously he looks older now, right? So I didn't initially recognize him. I just thought it was an old guy, and I was like, oh my god! I remember then he was casted like in the summer. Right, it was announced that he was casted in The Mandalorian, and I completely forgot. So, and also the lady, I don't know if you guys know that the lady, she's actually, which I will come to later on, but she's actually the goddaughter of Bruce Lee. So, her and obviously
she has no credits. I was like, oh, you mean this lady that I like is not Ming Na Wen? Like, I was like, it's not Mulan. I was like, wait a minute. But then she gets down to business, and I was like, okay, let's go.
That's why they cast her. Yeah,
let's go.
Exactly. And then we get the credits, and then the kind of he lands a Razor Crest. Obviously, they've had their little. We've seen the child, of course, with trying to kind of get the little ball, the gear stick thing.
It's called a
that he's
knob.
obsessed
The
with.
toys
Yeah.
have called it a knob.
Yeah,
There is a
it's a
Funko
knob.
Pop of the child holding, quote, a
The
knob.
Mando called it.
I think you can buy it, yeah, as a prop. Like you can buy like a baby Yoda with in his hand. He's got the knob thing. Yeah, so
Actually, I have an unopened child over there that I got from my girlfriend, knob in hand.
There you go. Obviously, yeah, he's mentioned, as he's landed, he's never had the dealings with the Jedi, doesn't know what to expect. He's approached, obviously, the gate. They've let him in, they've told him he's told him that he's part of the guild. They've let him in based on that. And then, he's walking through the village. He can see, he's noticed, obviously, there's issues there. There's people being tortured. There's people being mistreated. So he's obviously established this. And then he's kind of past that initial gate where the prisoners are kept, and it's all kind of really peaceful and scenic, and kind of representing Japanese culture and complete contrast behind a single gate. And then he's obviously spoke to the lady. We still haven't been introduced to her name yet, and then she's told him she's basically gave him a bounty to go and hunt the Jedi, go and hunt Ahsoka.
If you hit the Staples button, that was easy.
Yeah,
like, boy, walked right into that one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's so he's obviously gone into the marshlands to look for her, and of course we've seen the owl as he's gone into the marshland. Yes. So I see some people didn't spot it on like Twitter and stuff initially. I don't know how. That was like the first thing that I saw there that stood out. But yeah, obviously she follows Ahsoka everywhere. We already know that. And then yeah, Ahsoka obviously jumps in, fast action. The Beskar armor obviously protecting him, blocking the sabers, which is cool to see. That's the first legit time.
I was shocked the Beskar is blocking sabers.
Yeah. Well, as in you didn't know
it was a myth.
Yeah, I'm like, you gotta. My knowledge is more Jedi based and the stuff from new canon. I didn't pay attention to old canon because I knew there's all the different. I knew there was all.
I've seen a lot of people say that.
Of it, and
I've seen a lot of people say that they didn't know.
Ridiculous that there are different types, different levels, and this is canon, but the same story in this level's canon. And so I was like, when I was younger, I kept from movies. When Disney bought it and said, "Hey, we're wiping out all this and new canon," I said, "All right, starting from the top."
Yeah, I've seen that a lot online. Like a lot of people generally didn't know that Beskar armor can withhold lightsaber. So yeah, it's like that was a surprise to people.
Just wait till we tell them about the thing they put Maul in. They'll be like, "What in the hell?"
Yeah, and then they've had a little battle, and obviously Din Djarin's told it, like, stop. Bogz kind of said he didn't want no more smoke because he was gonna die. Another 5-10 more seconds, he was gonna die. So yeah, good job.
No.
He's like, I don't want it. I know. Yeah, exactly. Because she, the way she fights, she's like intense now. She goes through people. She's too experienced now. She's like the last remnants of the Jedi Order, so she can wipe through these soldiers and who are not as battle tested and
that weren't trained to fight Jedi. That were trained to like shoot maybe a monster that was not a monster, but like a beast or something that was coming to attack.
Exactly. And then we've obviously she's seen the child, seen Baby Yoda, and seeing them kind of meet for the first time is surreal because obviously, like, even at the start of this season, you're thinking, oh my god, like I want Ahsoka to be in this, and then you see it all kind of come to fruition. And then it's kind of gone to evening where they sat around a fire, very I thought Rebels-esque, like Ezra, Obi-Wan, Maul, obviously respect to like old samurai movies, the people speaking around a fire. Obviously didn't have a fire, they had like a lamp thing, but very remnant of that. And then they've had the kind of talks and negotiations, and then they've basically gone into with that whole time as well. Obviously the Djarin just walking around, not much dialogue. Again, very kind of like Japanese folklore themes and movies and cinematic traits. So complete respect to that. And I remember Filoni and Jon Favreau talking about how not only are they going to be respectful to Star Wars, they're going to be respectful to what influenced Star Wars, like old westerns, like old samurai movies, and it's all coming back now. And then we've established obviously the conversation that Ahsoka has had with the child and the information where we get the name. So going on that, Matt, what are your thoughts on the name? Obviously, it's Grogu, and that whole conversation, learning that the child has always been there. He's always been a part. He's been born on Coruscant. He's been taught by multiple Jedi
Multiple,
masters, and that whole history, and him being kind of suppressing his Force abilities. What do you think of that?
So I found that interesting. I'm an admin of a Star Wars Facebook page, and I run the master post for the Mandalorian.
Right.
And I had someone comment today, and this is my opinion on the name. They said, "Oh, Grogu's such a stupid name." I'm like, so is Yoda, so is Yaddle. That's the dumbest argument you can make. Like, Star Wars is filled with stupid names.
Yeah.
So the name, it's a Star Wars name. That's all I got. I'm not mad about it. I'm not upset with it. It's a Star Wars name. All right, Grogu, cool. But the lore that we got with him is what I felt was more important. I think the name, okay, cool. We have a name other than the child. Maybe people will finally stop calling him Baby Yoda, but I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
Disney started calling him the Bounty. I started like going to, or not going to. There's a YouTube channel that I watch all the time. Tim Tracker for Disney World stuff, and he goes into the shops, and like right next to the child stuff, they were having like shirts and stuff that said the Bounty.
Because he started off as the Bounty.
Right. And so they've had this mixed messaging, and now what are they gonna do? And we're like, Grogu, like on the back of a Spirit jersey at Disney World. I don't see it. I like the name. I enjoy the name.
Stuff. They have the child Spirit jersey. The child this.
Right.
So, okay.
Cool.
So what do you think? Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sitting here like, cool. But knowing that he was trained by all the Jedi Masters, knowing that was born, like, we got confirmation. So he's probably older than 50. We know that code was about 50 years old. I'm like, okay. But if to have been trained by multiple masters, we're only, let's see, we're roughly 27 to 30 years after episode 3. So I don't think he would have gotten a ton of training in that 20 to 23 years. So that's why I'm now thinking, okay, he's older. That's what it has to be. Now I'm wondering how quickly Yoda's species ages once they hit a certain point, because Yoda was 900 something years old, and this kid's
50.
Almost,
he's 50.
At least 50.
At least 50. At least 50. He might be older now.
He might be 51, right? We don't know if it's been a year. We don't know how long.
He might be 65 for all we know.
No. They said he was 50 years old in season 1.
No, they said the code, whatever the tracking thing was like 50 years old. That's why.
Right, but they say he's the same age as Anakin. That's confirmed. He's born the same year as Anakin Skywalker, so that would put him in his 50s at this point. So yeah. And like, at what point do they start to talk? Why do they talk? Like, was Yoda just around people all the time?
How do you
it seems like the baby was around people that was talking all the time.
How do you go from baby to like where Yoda was in 900
to preteen, right? Like, how do we go from like a 2-year-old to a 6-year-old?
Yeah. So yeah, that was, this scene was probably the favorite for me in the whole episode. So obviously that we learned about the lore and what's happened to him. We've also heard the first time we've heard some original theme music in this Mandalorian. So we've heard that the Force theme, the Yoda theme. It happened a couple of times there, and I got teary-eyed. I'll be honest with you, I got teary-eyed when I heard that. Hearing the Yoda, baby Yoda in the middle with the Mandalorian and Ahsoka on each side, sitting by a fireplace, and you're hearing Yoda's Force theme. It got me a little bit. I didn't drop any tears, but I got a bit welled up. I was like, oh man, I had to pause it for a second, thinking, damn, like, because I spoke, I think in the first episode that the main thing that I want to see from season 2 is I want to see Luke, okay, like a young Luke. Second thing was the music. Was the second most thing I was looking
Colin and I had the same look
in the whole.
You want to see young Luke? People
go play a video game.
Here's my thing about seeing a young Luke, and I know I'll touch on this a little bit later, so I'll keep this one brief.
I'll just stay.
No, here's my thing. A lot of the people who don't really know Star Wars love the Mandalorian for the fact that it hasn't deeply, up until today at least, tied into a lot of the other stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So if my opinion is you bring in Luke, that just you're gonna piss off a lot of people, because you're gonna have fans who are pissed off, who are just like, well, I was hoping for something other than Luke, because that's just, they feel like it was a cop out. And then you have people who are like, oh, I was liking this because it was so separated, and now we got Luke. So
Yeah.
Cal Kestis is in the universe. He's actively looking for people. The last time we saw him,
the last
and
time we
who
saw
knows?
him was about 10 years before A New Hope. So there's a lot of gap there.
Okay, that's fine.
True.
That's true. That's true. All right, Bogz.
So yeah.
Listen.
Sorry. So go ahead.
I got a feeling. You're good. You're good. I just got a feeling that this this whole thing with him in the temple is just gonna explode into like what?
Well, wait. We haven't even gotten to that yet. We haven't even gotten to that point yet.
No, let's go there. Because
Let's do it,
who's took him, what are the options, right?
Oh no, I was talking about the other temple mentioned later.
Oh no, that's later.
No. The first temple. The first temple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is huge. Because that's how he escaped. He lived on Coruscant. He was trained there, and then
how did he survive? Was he there?
How did he survive? What?
Was
Right.
he there?
There was a meme.
We know how
of
he survived. Somebody took him out.
That's what. Well, yeah.
Somebody saved him. But who was it?
Jocasta knew.
Jocasta knew. I mean, some people are saying it was the Emperor somehow. Some people are saying, it was another Jedi, or some people saying it was like, I don't know. I've seen rumors like Mace Windu survived and somehow saved him. I don't know how exactly. But
right now, I'm on the Mace.
Could be Yoda.
Right now, I'm on the Mace or Obi-Wan train because my general thinking is, okay, Obi-Wan finds the child and sends him away, gets him out of there. Because we know Yoda and Obi-Wan go back. No, the child is probably in a pram similar to what he was in Episode 1. It's not like clone troopers were going to be looking inside of it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's an exciting kind of thing, though. To
it hurts
try
my
and
head.
I mean, let's not waste too much time on it because it's like an endless debate. So hopefully we'll get the answer.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I'm thinking that'll be the answer in season. We'll get the answer in season 3.
Hopefully. So yeah, and then the kind of conversation's carried on. She's mentioned, she's done the kind of explain what the Force is. So I think that's just kind of Filoni's. Obviously, the Dinjari needs to hear that, and so does a lot of the casual audience people watching. Some of the kind of normal, regular Star Wars fans or regular movie fans or Disney fans or whatever. They need to hear what the Force is, because I know people that watch this and they've never seen Star Wars before, so they need an explanation. Oh, it's not powers; it's the Force, the balance, etc. So, like all the kind of previous trilogies, someone always has to explain it. Whether it's Obi-Wan, whether it's someone to Rey or whatever. It's been Ahsoka this time, so I'm glad kind of Filoni got his chance to do that. And then I noticed a little shot at some of the. So Ahsoka's literally said that to wield the Force, it takes great power and a great deal of training and discipline. I thought, oh, is that maybe a little shot at some other characters that maybe in the sequels? I mean, that's just the way I interpreted it. Obviously, Dave Filoni, that's probably in my own head, but I did specifically hear that. I thought, oh, okay, because obviously we've seen other characters without much training, without much discipline.
Here's the thing. Luke even said that Luke said that in Last Jedi, so that's why I didn't perceive it as a shot. I mean, we got that in The Last Jedi. We got Ahsoka saying it in this, and then Snoke even said, "Darkness rises and light to meet it." That was always my interpretation of why Rey got her powers, got so strong so quickly. So
it was just a great deal of training and discipline needed, and I was like, oh, Rey's had like not even a day's training, but anyway, that's a story for another episode. And then obviously she's kind of gone on to explain the Jedi Order's fallen a long time ago.
Ancient Jedi texts.
Yeah, exactly. She's read the books, Colin. She knows. All right. Anyway, and then she's kind of took the child on some tests, some Jedi tests, and she's obviously tried to get him to use the Force. He's not kind of listened or reacted well, but with Dinjarin he has. And then Ahsoka's established that he has attachment. She senses great fear in him, like she did with his master. And she's going to explain, she's obviously seen a fully trained Jedi Knight fall to the dark side, fall to temptations, fall to exactly callback. So, and this is what I mean. Matt. When people say this, I don't defend this argument anymore. Where people say, "Oh, I want to see new characters. I don't want to see Luke." We're talking about Anakin. We're talking about Anakin and Ahsoka. We've seen Boba Fett a couple of episodes ago. So you're going to get things when Filoni and, Favreau are in charge. You're going to get things come back. So, obviously we're moving the story forward, but we are going to get callbacks. So the greatest kind of Jedi masters out there in the galaxy. And, people want, Ezra and Cal Kestis to be in charge. You think Luke doesn't know? Or you think Luke won't pop up? I think he will. I think he will personally.
I think he will, but I feel like we need to wait on
I
it
hope
a little bit.
anyway. Yeah, maybe it might be next season or whatever. But I mean, it might not happen. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's just my thought.
And I said this to Chris earlier. The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian this year has set up about. One could argue probably like at least 3 spinoff shows have been set up within the Mandalorian world. Mm-hmm. You could have after today an Ahsoka show. You can have a Cara Dune show. You could have a Boba Fett show, which has been talked about. Like you could get a Cobb Vanth show. I know a lot of people, including me, wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
There's 4 potential spinoffs you got right there in 5 episodes. Mm-hmm. So definitely. Even if Luke doesn't show up in Mandalorian, could he show? If he were to show up, I'd prefer it would be probably one of those other shows. Tatooine with Cobb Vanth would make sense to a certain degree. And the Ahsoka show. Those would be the 2 that make the most sense. So,
sure. Colin, just your thoughts on the kind of Anakin name drop. Well, not literal name drop, but obviously referencing Anakin that she's had an experience with a Jedi with attachment. That's why she didn't want to train the child.
I mean, it seemed to me a bit like, oh no, let's put some distance between her and like
the Jedi.
The jet, yeah, they're just like practices. She needed to set a tone of expectations. Wasn't going to be like, I mean, she wasn't like, cool, here's my lightsaber. Let's see how this works. She was like, no, let's see how you move this rock. It was a good level start. Like it was the right starting place. It just seemed to me like she's not a teacher. That's not her. That was never her. That's why she didn't really hang around Kanan and Ezra a bunch. Like she popped in when needed. She was off doing her own thing because that's her. She's the not a scavenger, but she's a traveler.
Fixes problems, yeah.
Yeah, she's a traveler. She's a voyager. She's she goes from here to there and helps and does what she can. She just tries to do the right thing all the time. And right now, she felt like the right thing was not making the same mistakes that drove her to leave the Jedi Order in the first place. She was going to be extremely hypocritical if she was just like, yeah, let me raise this kid and help you out. And like the idea of like him just flat out leaving. Now Grogu, she says his name, which she learns through their Force connections after I guess he gives her the whole lowdown, which for a show that's set up flashbacks, what the fuck? I saw Death Watch fall from the sky. You can show me somebody in a hood
taking baby
Yoda through the Jedi archives. It's not. I mean, I'm sure it's hard, but I'm sorry. How many subscribers does Disney Plus have? Pay for it. Show me the flashback. There's ample time of just like 3 shots of just like a trailer amount, like literally like a 15 seconds out of a 2-minute trailer of what happened. That I did feel a little let down there, where I thought that the show had done a really good job of setting up the fact that we could see story filled in through flashbacks, which is one thing I was hoping we were going to see through Bo-Katan, hopefully through Bo-Katan and Moff Gideon, instead of just hear about somebody telling us about like,
Bo-Katan show.
Right. All that stuff. It's but for her, she's doing the right thing still. She's still just doing the right thing, and Ahsoka keeps continuing to make the right choices.
Well,
yeah.
Adding on to what Colin said, when I was talking with Chris earlier, I was telling him, like, I kind of figured she was going to deny the child, because us guys who have watched Rebels, who have watched Clone Wars and are deep into canon, know that she is separate. She's like, I'm not a Jedi. I'm just a Force user. That's what she doesn't claim to be a Jedi, which is why even when I heard the episode was titled The Jedi, I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit shocked by that, because she claims she's not a Jedi.
Not only that, it's that she she's come from a certain, you know, she's the kind of like I said before, she's the last remnants of the actual Jedi Order. You know, from a certain type of training, from a certain discipline where you can't have attachments. You know, you can't have at least the fear, at least the dark side, etc., etc. So I think obviously we'll come to that later, but I think she was referencing you need another trainer, not me. You need another teacher, someone like you're saying, Carl Kestis, someone who hasn't been indoctrinated in the full, full kind of apprentice Jedi training method. Obviously, Cal Kestis, yes, a little bit. Ezra, someone like him who hasn't gone through the traditional method, or someone like Luke who's kind of had to establish it himself. Someone like them, as opposed to her way of kind of teaching and knowing things. But like I said, we'll come to that later. So they've Din Djarin and Ahsoka have teamed up now to try and kind of free these prisoners. He's established that, okay, if I help you with this, you have to help train the child. She kind of said yes. And the head of that kind of village is her name is Morgan Elsa. Morgan Elsa. She's Bruce Lee's godchild. Okay, so that's who they're after.
The most human name I've ever heard in Star Wars.
Yeah, Morgan. I was like, what? Yeah, that was
like too easy. Last name, yeah. Morgan Elsa.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Luke.
Yeah, well, that was.
But his last name Skywalker. Her full name is
Morgan Elsa. Could have been anyone. Yeah, exactly. And then she's obviously gone back to the kind of to the forest again. And then she's kind of again is turned into Clone Wars. It's like watching that segment where she kind of cuts the bell. With the sabers and everything, that's straight out of Clone Wars. The whole technique, a whole.
She got the wall.
Yeah.
She's like, exactly. Oh, you see her, and then
my favorite sequence. This is the one I have a picture of on Twitter when she does the two sabers.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
straight out of Rebels, man. I was like,
yes.
They're like fist pump moments, you're like, oh, thank. Like it's such good time to be a Star Wars fan, and Filoni's here, getting these kind of things. And then she's obviously gone straight to Morgan Elsa in that kind of kind of relaxing Japanese area, and they've obviously faced off, and Din Djarin and Michael Bihn's character is kind of they're having a kind of shoot off as well, kind of first one to touch the gun, and now obviously they've had they've established the kind of pike made out of Beskar, which I think Din Djarin will use that against the Darksaber later. So remember Bogz told
that was such a cop out. They were like, "Oh, you guys thought Ahsoka was gonna have to fight Moff Gideon," and they were like, "Nah, bitch, we got a Beskar spear, motherfucker. He's gonna come in."
Too easy for her. That's too easy for her anyway. She's that good. But obviously
that sliced through him like butter.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen him yet. But
I don't know.
Presuming in his interviews, he's indicated like he said that because his armor is like kind of out of respect for Vader. If you notice like his chest armor, his plate armor, and he's saying like, "Oh, I can't wait for you guys to see my powers, my skill, my fighting this season." It's very Vader-esque. So, oh, okay. Let's see what you got.
Which Vader-esque? Rogue One Vader-esque?
Well, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. And then obviously they've had a quick face-off. She's used the kind of Beskar spear against the lightsabers. Again, that was cool. And by the way, Ahsoka's the kind of the noise of her white lightsabers igniting straight out of Clone Wars and Rebels.
Too. So that's something I did love about season 7 is the subtlety. They're like, we're gonna throw in that sound font from her Rebels sabers, just these new blue crystals. I was like, yes.
I love the noise of the Beskar against the sabers as well. It's like it's a weird like metal clinking. So like it just brings in like a lived-in sound. And great fighting.
It's metal. That's like if you've ever like sharpened a blade, it's like a blade being sharpened. Because the blade isn't being dulled, it's not being beaten, it's not being hit against. It's being enhanced. Like that Beskar is just being like it's not gonna break. So what's happening? It's just purity. It's just energy. It's just it's
like natural elements.
-1 and a +1. They just make 0, right? They just cancel each other out. And they just make whatever. It's
that's what I mean. On that in like a very Japanese-esque, like serene environment. It's very, very surreal. And obviously we've seen a moth cat before that as well, which I think that's a hint to Ezra, surely. Like, Ezra's coming. This is the Lothal kind of cat. Exactly. Yeah. And
because one went well. One that was like, and then one was just like running through the streets. I was like, oh, look at
And obviously,
we've seen close to Lothal.
Maybe, I don't know. We need to check the map. But yeah, there's obviously
star charts.
Yes, there's obviously civilians are running around like again like a typical old western, where they're kind of in the middle of like an old town. You know, a gunslinger. You know, two gunslingers facing off, and the civilians running around. And then yeah, they've obviously talking about Ahsoka and that Morgan Elsa, who's going to win. You know, I find that quite funny. And then you hear the Beskar kind of spear dropping, and then yeah, she kind of asks her, where's your master? I'm like, okay,
you mean Moff Gideon?
Yeah, exactly, Moff Gideon, or who's it gonna be, or come on, he's just spill the beans. Grand Admiral Thrawn, and like I think I paused it. Like I was like, what? Like no, like because you had to like gather your thoughts because obviously you're thinking so many things in your head. Where is he? Who's he with?
I'm like,
where's Ezra?
Drunk.
What happened?
At this
Where's
point,
his
I'm like,
yeah, what have I missed? Like,
did she just say that? Like, what just happened?
I did it. I just did like this fist pump, leg pump in my bed. I was like, hell yes.
I said, Lars,
what's he gonna look like? Like, where,
you are needed on set, my man. Come on down. You're the next contestant. Or let the Rebels freaking voice acting tree change your life.
Yes. So I was glad to hear that as well because obviously we haven't seen too much of Moff Gideon yet. So I'm glad there's like I don't know if he's kind of above Moff Gideon, but I'm glad that there's a other villain out there that we know that we think that's kind of the bigger bad out there. And my long shot is that with kind of Ezra and him, he must be because Grand Admiral Thrawn is obviously a grand tactician, like a Sherlock Holmes thing, if you will. So battling these Force users, these Jedi, and obviously had that experience with the Bendu.
I think that would make him Moriarty.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but yeah, he's obviously had the experience with the Bendu there in the end of Rebels. So yeah, like I just thought of that randomly today. I was like, oh, what's going on? So that's when the possibilities of this are just mad. You can keep you up at night.
Imagine seeing the Bendu, like full Bendu, and they're like, Colin Baker, come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, no, did he pass away? Oh no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he passed away.
I don't know.
We've got enough of his voice. We can use it. We can do it.
Yes. So yeah, then just finishing off the obviously the battle in the town. They've kind of freed everyone, and then yeah, they've kind of gone back to the rage. Oh well, Ahsoka's gave him the Beskar spear, and he's accepted it. He didn't want to at first. Him being a warrior, I didn't earn it, but she's given him kind of as a gift, or you may need it for later battles. And then as the kind of he's saying goodbye to the child, as as if he's handing him off to Ahsoka, but she's again refusing to say I am not I'm not the right trainer for this Force user. Go to the Jedi Temple on Tython, and go to the some specific mountain, and yeah, you'll be basically see top of a mountain, a seeing stone. Sorry, it's called seeing stone, and yeah, and you'll be able to, and basically a Jedi will come to you. So my thoughts on that just quickly. Obviously, a Tython, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done too much research on it. Obviously, it is from Legends.
I know.
Yeah, it is from Legends.
Colin. Go ahead, Colin.
Colin knows.
So, yeah.
Knows. Guys.
Go ahead,
I know
Colin.
this one.
Okay, there's a cue here, sir. So yeah, so obviously we'll come to that in a second, but yeah, my just overall thoughts on that. Obviously, first of all, we're going to see a Jedi temple, like just in the Mandalorian, like we're going to see a Jedi temple from like it's just crazy. And then from there, obviously in Jedi temples in the past, in other lore, in other kind of series and stuff, all kinds of things happens in these temples. They face trials, they see Force ghosts, all that good stuff. And any possible Jedis out there, like we said, there isn't many, but the ones out there, as we said, Cal Kestis, Ezra, Luke, Cal Kestis' master as well. I forgot her name, but obviously they said Jedi, but I personally think as well that there might be some dark side users that might maybe sense him as well. So I don't know who exactly, but maybe someone might come out of the woodwork there. But yeah, sorry, go ahead, Colin. Tell us about the Tython.
Yeah, I know it's my turn to step into the Jedi archives. Let's go. It's time to step into the. We're actually going to step over into the graphic novel section, and we're going to pull out a little. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of her, little Dr. Aphra. We're gonna all
That's
grab
why
our
it sounded
issues of
familiar.
Dr. Afra, and we're gonna go into the saga with Dr.
Familiar,
Afra
Yes, she's in.
just prior before episode 5. Leading up to episode 5, the story with Vader and Dr. Afra had them going to the planet Tython, which was initially just to distract Vader from finding out the location of the rebel base. Afra was working her Afra-ness and playing both sides of the war, leading them to the planet Tython, which is a deep core planet and is known to be the location of the Matrium of Frozen Tears, which is supposedly to have just a full structure of kyberite. It's a very force-sensitive planet. Kyberite is a natural occurring thing on this planet. So I'm looking forward to that. This is the first. We're like, oh my god, hey, have you read the comics? Boom!
So all I know from this planet, in terms, like I said, I haven't done too much research, but I know the first Jedi temple was founded here.
It was one of the candidates for the first Jedi temple.
Where we got in the Last Jedi was the first Jedi temple.
Octu. So it was home to a Jedi temple, and along with other Jedi temples on Octu, Coruscant, Jeddah, and Ossus, the Tython Jedi Temple was one of the candidates for the Jedi Order's very first temple. So that would be the Order. So there were temples there. So it's just like Octu, or in the same way, Jeddah had their own spread out sects of Jedi users.
Temple.
Yeah.
Right. But then that would be later. So this is like the first generation of them, right?
Yeah.
So then they get organized. So we're gonna see some stuff here that's reminiscent of that. That's very reminiscent of Octu, very reminiscent of Jeddah. And I'm so excited. And if they walk up to this thing, and this is like this place where Vader has been, this like, that's, oh man, oh boy. This is the place actually that Dr. Afra's father was interested in, and then his research led our Afra into being interested in it. So it's nice that somebody was like, oh, we have a planet for that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I own probably like the first 30 some odd of Afra comics. I just haven't gotten the chance to actually read them.
It's only like one issue I think she was at. I have read it, but when it came out, so I don't remember the story exactly, but it was really brief. Like she just kind of passed through the planet. But in Legends, they've spent a lot of time there. Like I believe that like some of the foundings of the actual Force has come from this planet. Like it's like a big deal in Legends. So yeah, but yeah, what are your overall thoughts about that mission? You know, where they're going, who they might see?
So to me, there's only two. I know Colin's over here going like, Cal Kestis, like I said.
Yeah. I mean,
if we had seen him more recently, it'd be a different story. But the last time we saw him is at least 15 to 20 years before this story is taking place.
Sure, yeah.
So to me, there's two options, and that's Ezra and Luke. Luke makes sense because if and we have to mention, Grogu is the one choosing his path. If he wants to be a Jedi, he'll reach out through the Force. Otherwise,
she did specifically say that as well, right?
Yeah, she did specifically say that. So it's gonna. She's like, it's gonna be his choice, and if he decides to reach out, maybe someone will feel him and come for him. So, with that in mind, I think the only two logical explanations are one, the most logical, because we know he's out there, he's going around the planets looking for Jedi, for Force-sensitive children, ancient Jedi artifacts. That's Luke.
With who's the other guy? So I was thinking in Force Awakens. What's his name?
Or Santeca.
Lord Santeca. Yeah. He's with him, right?
Lord Santeca.
Ding. Point, Colin.
Yes. Or you have, well, also Lando, if you want to go based off of Rise of Skywalker. Just saying that. Or the other option you have is Ezra, and the only reason that, in my opinion, is an option is, well, we know Thrawn's out there doing some dastardly things now, but the real question is, where's Ezra? If Thrawn's now out, did he kill Ezra? Is that why Ahsoka's looking for Thrawn for vengeance? Because I expected to, for when I saw Ahsoka, I also expected to see Sabine.
Hmm.
So did something happen in this couple year gap? Because we know last time we see Ahsoka before this in canon is when she takes Sabine away.
Hmm.
I